Rachel's hands trembled as she dialed 911. The operator's calm voice on the other end was a stark contrast to the frantic pounding of her own heart. "My niece," she says her father. "He's poisoning her." The words tumbled out, a jumbled mess of fear and disbelief. Within the hour, the quiet suburban street was filled with the flashing blue and red lights of police cars. Detectives Johnson and Rodriguez, a seasoned pair with tired but sharp eyes, met Rachel at the front door. Johnson was tall and lean, his expression unreadable, while Rodriguez was shorter, with a compassionate look that immediately put Rachel slightly at ease. Emma, small and frail, stood behind Rachel, clutching the hem of her aunt's shirt. She looked up at the detectives, her big eyes wide with a mixture of fear and determination. "It's upstairs," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "My daddy. He keeps the white powder in his study." The last room at the end of the hall. Rachel squeezed her niece's shoulder, a silent promise of protection. "It's always locked," Emma added, "but maybe not today." Johnson and Rodriguez exchanged a quick, knowing glance. They had seen too many domestic horrors to dismiss the words of a child, no matter how fantastic they seemed. Rachel's call had already set in motion the legal gears for a search warrant, but Emma's testimony would be crucial. The next morning, the house was no longer a home but a crime scene. A full forensic team swarmed the property, their quiet, methodical movements adding to the surreal atmosphere. The air was thick with tension. Rachel sat with Emma in the living room, trying to shield her from the worst of it, while the detectives focused their attention on the second floor. They reached the study at the end of the hallway, just as Emma had described. The door was indeed locked. A member of the team made short work of the lock, and the door swung open, revealing a room that was impeccably neat, almost sterile. Books lined the shelves, organized by author and genre. A large mahogany desk stood in the center, its surface clear except for a single ornate letter opener. It looked like the workspace of a meticulous, organized man, not a monster. But the facade began to crumble as the search progressed. Tucked away in a desk drawer, beneath a stack of financial statements, they found the first bag. It contained a fine white powder. Field tests confirmed it was a potent illegal substance. The search intensified. In a locked filing cabinet, they discovered more. Bags of tranquilizers, far exceeding any therapeutic dose. Vials of high-dose sleeping pills, enough to sedate a horse. The sheer quantity was staggering, painting a chilling picture of calculated malice. Michael wasn't just using. He was stockpiling. It was a poisoner's arsenal. Rachel felt a wave of nausea. The milk, the juice, the nighttime glass of water. It all flashed before her eyes. Every simple act of care had been twisted into an act of violence. Detective Rodriguez, running a hand along the wood-paneled wall behind the desk, felt a slight give. He pushed gently, and a section of the wall clicked open, revealing a hidden, flush-mounted safe. The air in the room grew heavy. This was it. This was where the deepest secrets were kept. After a tense 20 minutes, the safecracker from the forensic team managed to open it. Inside, nestled among stacks of cash and legal documents, was a small leather-bound book. A diary. On the cover, embossed in gold lettering, was a single name: Jennifer. Detective Johnson carefully lifted the diary, handling it as if it were a sacred artifact. He opened it to the last few pages, where the handwriting grew shaky, almost illegible. He began to read aloud, his voice steady but laced with a grim finality. "He's changing. The way he looks at me, it's like I'm an inconvenience. A problem to be solved." The words hung in the air, a ghost whisper from the past. Rachel felt the blood drain from her face. It was her sister's handwriting, her sister's voice. Johnson continued reading the final entries. "After meals, I feel so dizzy. My body feels heavy, like it's made of lead. Sometimes I can't move. I just lie there, watching the world spin. Emma looks at me with so much worry in her eyes. My sweet girl, she knows something is wrong. She tries to take care of me, bringing me water, patting my forehead. The detective's voice faltered for a second before he cleared his throat and went on. If something happens to me, please, God, someone protect her. Protect my Emma? A strangled sob escaped Rachel's lips, and then she was crying great, heaving gasps of grief and horror that tore through the quiet room. She collapsed onto a nearby chair, the diary's words echoing in her mind. Jennifer had known. Her sister hadn't just succumbed to a sudden tragic illness. She had been a prisoner in her own home, slowly being poisoned, her strength sapped away day by day. She had died afraid, her last thoughts a desperate, silent plea for someone to save her child. Emma's nightmares weren't just nightmares, they were memories. They were warnings passed down from her mother. The truth was out, unearthed from a hidden safe, and it was more monstrous than anything Rachel could have ever imagined. The voice of the dead had finally spoken, confirming the living child's terror. Now, all that was left was the fight for justice, for Jennifer, and for Emma,